Hi, good evening. Hopefully y'all have had a great week. Um, we've really enjoyed the kind of the time to recoup from the conference. It was a great conference. If I may say so myself, I felt like all the speakers that came and gave us some wisdom and information were very informative and gave us some really good stuff that we really needed to hear, especially some of us that sometimes deal with things outside the norm. So it was a really exciting conference this year. We were very happy to have all those that participated, and we're hoping to get a few of them to come back next year. But before we get started, I'm going to let Jessica talk about current events. So Jessica, if you'd like to talk about current events.
Sure. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say that all of the events that I'm talking about are going to be in our current events email that goes out on Sundays. We just had about 3 new people sign up, so people are still signing up, and we just send those out every Sunday. The times vary, but it will be out there. We'll also send it out in the follow-up email. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is Yahoo News posted a story on Tuesday, and the title of it was Houses of Worship See Vandalism, Violence as Hate Crimes Spike in US. So this is from Yahoo News, and I haven't been able to find a source that kind of corroborates it, but it does match up with what we've been seeing. And what the report says is that 2021 is on track to exceed last year's spike in hate crimes in the US, many of them linked to religious bigotry. So then it goes on to list some of the numbers that we're seeing. And so this one was particularly important. It says the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops said last week that it has now recorded 100 acts of hate against Catholic sites in the U.S. since May of 2020. So obviously that's a lot, and it goes on to name that there are also a lot of anti-Semitic attacks and attacks against just all churches in general. We're just seeing an increase just in vandalisms and thefts, in attacks. And so it's really important that we don't lose sight of making sure that the church is safe and that we don't grow complacent, because as the report said, and as we've been seeing, this year is on track to be the highest recorded hate crimes against a religious group since 2001, and that was after 9/11 and the attack on churches of Islam. So we just wanted to put that reminder out, and I will put this report out in the current events email. And then the other thing that we wanted to talk about, and that I think we're going to talk about more later on, is that we have had 2 incidences where somebody has gotten on stage and caused a disruption and it ended bad. So we just wanted to put that out there, that your church should be training on how to handle those situations, and they should be just constantly training, so that way we don't see these videos that are coming out now from these churches. Then the other thing that I just wanted to say is that we're also seeing more vandalisms. There was one church, and I don't remember where it was, but they just had a bunch of Nazi things sprayed on the church all over the place. And so obviously that's going to take a lot of money to fix and also clean up. And then we're also seeing a lot of robberies, a lot of attacks and vandalisms, and just an increase in attacks against churches in general. And like I said, all of these will be sent out on Sunday. But that's what we have for tonight.
Thank you, Jessica. Really appreciate that. That's my intelligence officer that's helping us out. She's still over in Daytona, and she does a great job. So we're going to talk about a 2021 conference recap. Now, the speakers that I'm going to show you right now, we have video of. So this is very exciting for us, and we're going to be putting it out on our YouTube page for members, and we'll talk about if we want to share it with some other people. But right now, members, we're going to be working on this through the next couple of weeks. We'll be putting out these videos that we were able to get. So for your church, for your safety team members that were not able to make it, you'll be able to see the videos. Now we'll start off. We did get video of Ricky Rook. Now, Ricky is amazing because he's with USCCA, and he talks about USCCA and how it's changed, and now it's become literally a type of insurance. But the other thing that he did, which I was really impressed with, is he did talk about church safety teams and some of the things that we should be looking at instead of just going out here and doing our own thing. I mean, he really, really covered it. And one of the things that he said that I've been saying all along, he kind of validated my point on it, was that you should not be marking yourself as safety teams inside your church. We've had this discussion over and over and over again, and he brought it up and he talked about it. Now, Ricky has the credentials to talk about these things. He was with a police department outside of Kansas City. He was there for many years. His dad was a pastor of a church, so he's been around that type of environment, and he's also kind of helped set up the safety team that was at his church. So this is a really good session, and if you get an opportunity, you need to listen to it. Now, one that surprised everybody, and I'm really glad that we got him in, was Dr. Mark Jones. And what he talked about was, his statement was prepare, but don't assume. Now, as I kind of told you, Mark and I met at a One Blood Summit that was talking about racial tensions inside the church. Now, this is a man of God, and he's one of those that when you listen to him, you truly know that his heart is looking for the heart of other men and not the skin color. It does not matter to him. And he and I have had some close talks and some interesting talks. And he and I both know that you have to walk a mile in everybody's shoes to kind of understand what goes on in everybody's life. So it was a great session. And we're going to ask him back next year. A lot of people liked him. A lot of people commented on him. And so we want to make sure that we try to get him back next year to maybe talk a little bit more about what he does and some of the things that he's been seeing out here in the real world, and kind of like educating us on what is going on. Now, we had Angela, who we do have her video of where she talked about criminal and civil liability issues surrounding church safety teams. Now, she was very upfront, did not beat around the bush about it. And she talked about this, of where she said that you have to understand that under the protect or the stand your ground law in the state of Florida, you can protect somebody. You can protect yourself. You can protect somebody inside your church. And these are things that would protect you as far as criminal liability. But you have to understand that there's always the possibility of civil liability, especially if you're careless. Now, there would also be criminal charges if you were careless and accidentally, or what we're not calling accidental anymore, but carelessly discharged a firearm inside a church and somebody was injured. This has happened before. We've talked about that. That's why gun safety inside the church is very important. We just have a high profile case that's going on right now where Alex Baldwin, the actor, we'll just say it, carelessly discharged a weapon and killed one of the camera women that were on set. So these are the things that she talked about. And like I said, this video will be out there. Now, of course, our keynote speakers, let me say, were Frank and Sherry Pomeroy. Now, if you don't remember who they are, he was the pastor at Sutherland Springs in November of 2017, when the shooter came and shot and killed 26 members of his church and injured 20. And one of those people that he killed was their 14-year-old daughter. This was a powerful session talking about hope, telling us a little bit about what happened that day, what they went through, the things that they've been dealing with since this has happened. And it's not over. It will never, ever be over. But they gave us that strong, just glimpse, not a glimpse, but a strong showing of hope of what will come, hope of of things in the future. And they really, really showed their faith in God and how he helped them through this. So this also is out there. We also had Alan Wilkett. Alan Wilkett, of course, is one of our favorites because he comes in and he talks about human trafficking. He talked about how it is in this country and how it needs to be, the laws need to be changed to go after the people that support it, not just the people that do it, but those that pay for it. Because once you stop that flow, once you make that a crime and a serious crime, you would start probably to see it stop more than what's happening right now. So this is something that he is working with. And if you ever get an opportunity to hear Alan live, like I said, we're going to put his video out. Please go and see him. Cameron Allen, we've been talking about this. We've been pushing this out as far as one of our training sessions on mental health. And Cameron came and talked about some of the things that they're doing where they're working on bringing it out in the open, that when you realize that something is wrong, then you need to reach out. And that's kind of their program now, just reach out. When you have a person that you're talking to, then all of a sudden you start to see them starting to slide down into a path that is just not healthy at all. And you come to the realization that it could possibly be a mental health issue, then Cameron and his group are people that you could reach out to. And we're working on the program to get it further and further along. Next, one of the other speakers that we had was Joanne Bear, where she talked about medical team, what you can and cannot do, the logistics of putting together a medical team, and also some of the things that we've run into as her working with the safety team. They work with us, and some of the do's, like I said, the do's and don'ts, like they don't give out medication and they don't, perform surgery on it. But she also talked about the TyTech medical kit, the blood trauma kit. It's not a medical kit. It is for injuries that require quick stop of bleeding. Those were important things that we wanted to share and make sure that everybody got an opportunity to hear how we handle it at our church at Generations. Now, some of this stuff that we do not have yet, we do not have Saunders Smith with Protect My Ministry. And that was very, very educational about background screenings, do's and don'ts. I'm working on that. I'm hoping that I get some video on that so we can place that out there. Another one that we have not got video on yet is Holly Wade. Now, if you remember, Holly Wade is with the Tampa Bay Intelligence Center, talking about hometown security versus homeland security, and what a fusion center is and what it's not, and how it relates to the church. And of course, this is something that we're putting together, and that she and I are talking about starting to share information that would probably not be shared to the public right now, but because we're trying to set it up that this information we know is important to the churches, that we get out. We talked about a case where FDLE was going around the state after some people in an undercover operation who were stealing money from churches. And I was very upset. And we talked about this because I felt like if we'd have warned the churches, maybe some of them would have saved funds that they cannot replace. And I just think it's not right for law enforcement not to be sharing with churches to protect the churches. That's what we're always looking to do, protect the church and protect the flock. We also had Paul Adderton come and talk about liability insurance. And most of the churches do have liability insurance, but it is just one of those things that it needs to be talked about. It's just something that, it's kind of like nobody likes talking about car insurance, health insurance, medical insurance, or anything like that. But it is very important that we do bring it up in our conferences to talk about, to make sure that you're covering all the steps. We talked about this once before, and Paul really didn't talk about it. Ricky kind of talked about it, and a couple of other people mentioned it, but there is coming about a thing that is going to be active shooter insurance. They're not going to cover it under some of the other policies that you have out there. And of course, this is kind of a roll of the dice. You probably will never, ever have an active shooter inside your church. But then it's also like whether or not you get flood insurance here in Florida. You may be in a high area that doesn't show that it floods all the time. But if you were to have a hurricane and all this, next thing you know, that you've got these ponds and things like that that's flowing up against your door, you might have wished that you'd have gotten the flood insurance. So it's just something that we're paying attention to and we're watching and we're going to keep track of. But we just kind of wanted to go through and let you know what videos we do have, and we're going to be placing them out there so that if you weren't able to make it, that you can go out and listen to these videos, these sessions. And they're very just full of information, really good videos. And we're also trying to get some of the PowerPoint presentations so we can put those out there online also. So excited about getting those out there for you. It was a great conference. Thank you for all those that were able to make it. All those that couldn't make it, I wish you could have. I missed you. And we're looking forward to doing it again next year. Who would have thought this was our 5th annual? Who would have thought that we would still be here this long? I mean, I know that I've been concerned at times, but God has blessed us. He's blessed us with you. He's blessed us with all the speakers that we've had that have come to every single one of our conferences. And so we're just really already starting to plan for next year to see where we're going to go. But one of the things I did want to bring up, that I want you to send us information on things you would like to hear at the conference, something that you would like to do at the conference. We're going to do it a little different as far as the flow of things. I think that we're going to maybe cut out one speaker and make sure that everybody gets a break after every session. That seems to be something that we really need to work on. It's just some of the things that we're trying to put together that we hope that makes it a better experience for you. But the more feedback we get from you, the better it is. So are there any questions? I'm going to sit here for a few seconds and see if there's any questions.
I'm not seeing anything from anybody.
Okay. All right. All right. We've got a couple of things going on. I'm going to skip one slide here. All right. Once again, USCCA came out. We're working really hard with them, putting together a whole bunch of stuff that we really are excited about. We're talking about different ways that we can save you money on the insurance that they've put out. And plus, I just can't say enough about their training stuff that they have online. So these are things that you want to look at. These are things you want to pay attention. We're going to try to get Ricky to come back and talk at a different time where he can answer a lot of questions that you may have as far as what USCCA is going to do for you if you sign up for them. But if you drive a vehicle, you have insurance. If you carry a weapon, a concealed weapon, and he even talked about it. I mean, this was one of the questions that was asked out there. They cover all types. If you have to defend yourself with anything, if you don't have a weapon next to you and you have to use a baseball bat to protect yourself, they cover you. They come in and help you with this. If you have to use your car, because somebody had asked the question once before, if I'm in the middle of a riot that's going on and people are coming at me and my family is sitting in the car with me, am I okay to drive away? Yes, you have to protect yourself. So these are some of the things that he can bring out and talk about. And it's just very important information that we get this stuff. They're doing some things here locally with some of the firearm ranges. And so these are things that we want to make sure that we get all this information to you. So we'll be talking more about them here in the future. We've got our free resources out there. For those of you who are new to Trinity Security Allies, there is free resources online, putting together a safety team, developing a safety team, carrying weapons in church, and Sunday morning, what to look for. This is for new members that have never really gotten into some of it. One of the things that Angela talked about was making sure that you write some sort of policies and procedures, but don't try to be so detailed that it takes an attorney to explain them to somebody that is probably not going to be an attorney. So if the more you into the weeds that you get, try to make it as easy to understand as possible, because it's just one of these things. You go to court on this and you have to explain it, and you can't explain it because you're not the one that wrote it and you're the one that's involved in the incident. It's just make it easy as possible, but put something together. This is something that we talked about. Like I said, we have these free resources out there. We're going to put out our policies and procedures for our church. If you contact me, I'll be more than happy to send them to you. I'll send them to you in a Word document. There's also some stuff that Angela put out there that we're going to take a look at and maybe incorporate it, some of it in our stuff, so that we get the information out to you. All right, online membership. Sign up today to access our online church safety. As you saw, we're going to be putting a lot of video out there. This video is going to be something that you can use. I'm also going to be putting some video out there, and give us some time because it takes us a little bit of time to get it out there and get it set up. But I did training on threat profiling at another church, and I'm going to go ahead and put it out there so that we can all see it. Everybody can have access to it. So this is something that, like I said, we're going to be working on right now, because this is kind of our slow season. as far as churches asking us to come out and do some training, because we're getting ready for Christmas and we'll be talking about that again, but it's coming up soon. So we need to make sure that we're prepared to what may come to our churches during this time of year. This weekend, like our church has got what we used to call trunk or treat. Now they called it Candy Palooza, which I don't know why, but we're going to have trunk or treat. Basically, we're going to have probably close to 60 cars sitting out there, and we're going to have bouncy houses and food trucks and different things like that. If you were to have an event like that, are you prepared? One of the churches that I work with told me that they had one of these events, and halfway through the event, a hysterical mother came up and said, I can't find my 13-year-old daughter. What do you do in that type of situation? And we talked about it, and they did it right. They did exactly what they should have done. Of course, in the end, I mean, they didn't know what happened to this girl. They didn't know if somebody had snatched her or something like that. But in the end, they found her because she was mad at mom. She had went and got into her grandmother's car van and was hiding in the back because she didn't want to be around her mother. Well, of course, everybody takes a deep sigh of relief. But during that hour that they were out there stopping traffic and going through vehicles, which you have to be careful with because you might make some people mad, but they were explaining to them that they were looking for this girl. And of course, people were working with them. It's the way you talk to them, all the different things like that. So like I said, we have a lot coming up, but we need to be ready and we need to do the training. Now, online membership, this is for individuals. Your membership supports the ministry. We also have the membership for the church safety and security membership program, which is $125 a month or $1,200 a year. Listen, we've kept this price down, this amount, for so many years now, but unfortunately, because of everything else that is happening, everything else that is going on, the inflation that's hitting everybody is hitting us also. So at the beginning of next year, our prices are going to increase some. It's the unfortunate nature of the beast in order for us to keep us going. So we want you to understand that if you're serious about this, or you know your church is serious about this, this is a time to get in on it, because after the first of the year, we're going to have an increase in rates. And we're trying to keep it as close as to what we are right now. But I just really have to say that we've really started to also feel it. We're 501c3. You are the ones that support this ministry. You're the ones that keep us going. You're the ones that allow us to do the freebies that we do when we come out and do the Church Safety Network group meetings. This is because of your contributions and your church's membership. But if you have a membership, your church has a membership, you get 2 2-hour training sessions or full day of training. We have scheduled phone calls where you can talk with me, 5 tickets to the annual Church and Safety Liability Conference, a discounted full strength and weakness assessment with recommendations, detailing priorities in your house of worship, and your safety team has full access to the online library and monthly member only calls. And I will tell you something right now. The last monthly member call that we had was super informative, because of one of the churches that has 5 satellites that was talking about some of the things that they're running into and some of the things that they're having happen at their church. It was very informative. So if you're a member, you need to come out on those, because we talk about everything that's happening locally across the nation, and we share this information to make sure that you're better prepared in case something comes into your church. If your church cannot afford a membership, consider a local business owner to sponsor your church. This church that talked to us about the situation that they had in their church, this was one of those churches where a member pays for their membership because he's concerned of the safety of the church, and he is a part of our Centurion Club. For more information, visit TrinitySecurityAllies.com or contact Wendy at TrinitySecurityAllies.com. Now, training that we offer right now, and we're trying to get a couple of more different classes out here. So when you call me on the phone and say, hey, you know what? We've heard situational awareness and threat profiling before. We don't think we need it anymore. That makes me kind of cringe, because the thing of it, when we are in police departments, we get the same training every 2 years, because after a period of time, it becomes muscle memory. And we kind of know exactly what we're doing when we get out there, because we have this training over and over and over again. You know, when you tell me, oh, I went to your threat profiling class, I don't need to go to it again, I have to look at you and say, do you just shoot once every 2 years or something like that? No, you're out there doing it all the time. So when we do a threat profiling class, even if it's not at your church, but it's open, you should come to it, because it gives you more information, and you'll pick up something every single time you see this training, because I know that I do. When I go and listen to other people train, I'm always picking stuff up. We do a verbal de-escalation class, a what if class, and this one is starting to expand and explode, because what Jessica was talking about, we're trying to pull down 2 videos of where a disruptive attendee came into a church, and one was violent, and it was very violent. And fortunately, there were enough people to stop the person. We're also talking about mental illness in the church. It is here, folks. It is here. We're really seeing more and more cases, just like the 2 that we just talked about. One where the lady got on the church platform with the pastor there. The other one where the guy became violent and fought with the members of the church. We also still have our laser shot, which is something that when you get to try it, it is putting you into a real life type scenario where you have to make a decision of whether you can talk yourself out, verbal de-escalation, or whether it's a shoot or don't shoot type scenario. So we had these trainings out here. Just let us know what you want. We've even custom some for different churches, especially they have a specific need. We have our members only on Thursday, November the 18th. I do want to say something. Jessica put out on her current events email. She talked about the calendar for October and November. The November 11th training will be on November the 4th. We're going to send you out an email, but I just want to put this out here right now. I didn't put a slide there, but it will be the November 11th training will be on November the 4th. I'll be out of town on November the 11th. Also, we're not going to have one on November 25th. Happy Thanksgiving. If you have not had an opportunity to come out and hear True Christian Talk, you need to come out. We talk about situations that are happening right now. We're watching the Virginia election. You do not realize how important that election is. You should go out and listen to what we talked about today about how we talked about kind of a revolution or a civil war. And we have seen states that have stepped up against the federal government. Now, we're not talking violence. We're just talking that we want to see our rights protected. I don't know if you read the articles today, but what is going on here in Florida? Right now, we have the lowest COVID count, the lowest COVID amount in the country. And look at what our governor did as far as COVID goes. So these are the things that we talk about. But Virginia right now, something that has been concerning us, something that we've been watching, we've been seeing how schools have started to teach classes that were just not, they're non-Christian, they're non-biblical. And teachers are starting to, parents are starting to wake up. And we see this right now, what's happening in Virginia. And all of a sudden, where at one point the Democratic Party was stronger than ever, now all of a sudden it's a dead heat. And we need to be praying for that state, because we have a lot of parents that have now woken up and saw what was going on in the schools. And we need to make sure that they get what they need to protect their children. And we need to see a change in the politics up there. And so be praying for them, be praying for them. Get out here and listen to what's happening. Go to True Christian Talk. If you're going to do a search when you go to YouTube, you have to put it in parentheses, because if you don't, you're going to get a lot of True Christian. But if you put it in parentheses, True Christian Talk, you'll see it right away. And it's the world through a Christian lens. Go out, subscribe to it. It helps us out, because Facebook shut us down twice, and we're now on YouTube, and we seem to be doing okay, but we want to make sure that we stay out there. So we need your support. If you have not gotten your copy yet of God's Unseen Plan, please contact us. We'd like to get you a copy. The book is doing well. Everybody that has read it has told me it is a good story. It helps them. It instills faith. It's just one of these things where you see that God has a perfect plan for you. You just have to trust him, and you have to have the faith. So thank you. I see a couple of chats. What's up? Q&A. Come on. Where's my assistant?
I'm here. I'm just reading things in the chat. Yes, I see that now. We have the video for, there was a question about two of the incidents that I brought up earlier where somebody made a disturbance on stage. The one video we just got, and so we can either send out the link to the story or we can send out the video itself. And then the other one that we have, I think, I don't remember when or where it was, but I can try and find that as well. And I know we have a lot of other videos of just people rushing the stage, but these two happened recently.
Well, one of them happened here, and we've been showing it in our training. One of them happened at one of the churches here in Pinellas County. The other one, I'm not really for sure exactly where it was. I just happened to see it, and so I shot it over to Jessica. It was a Catholic church. The person that came in, the person that disrupted the church, was not wearing a mask. The priest told him that he needed to leave, and he refused to leave, and he fought with the members of the church. So we're trying to get that video to where we can share it with you. If we can find it on YouTube, we'll put out the YouTube link. We don't want to put it on we might be able to put it on our YouTube. I'd have to check. I want to make sure that we're not breaking any laws on that.
I can definitely, I can just send out the link to the Twitter account that posted the video and you can see it there. And then the other one is Dad was talking about that happened recently. I don't know if we have video for that.
We do. Well, are we talking about Calvary?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have video on that. And that,
Okay,
like I said,
yeah, we can, I will send out videos to both of those in the follow-up email. And then also I will definitely be mentioning the one on Twitter in the current events email.
is that it?
That was the only question, yes. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between chat and. Just a lot of thank yous from everyone.
Well, we thank you all also. We really do.
Yes.
So we've kept you over the 30 minutes. Wanted to make sure that you got all the information. Be watching when we put videos out there. Jessica will come out and share that information with everybody so that we get you up to date to when you know when the new videos are coming out. So if there's no more questions, then I'm going to tell you good night. Be safe, be blessed. We love you all, and we hope to see you real soon.